Hello, everyone. Welcome to our meeting of December 1st, 2020 of the Waynesboro Area School District Board of Directors. I apologize. We're having some significant technical difficulties today. I am going to be running the meeting, but I'm operating off of my phone and my Chromebook and a hard copy. So we'll see how this goes. Let's go ahead and try a roll call, Ms. Kuzer.
Okay. Mrs. Bakedall?
She's still figuring it out.
Okay. Mrs. Dr. Royer?
Here.
Mr. McDonald?
I'm here.
Mr. Wenger?
Here.
Mrs. Zimmerman?
Here.
Mrs. Miles?
Here.
Mrs. Straight?
Here.
Mrs. Sullivan?
I'm here.
And Mrs. Harold?
Here. Okay, the first order of business tonight, this is our reorganization meeting where we're going to choose a president and a vice president. So I am going to step down. We're going to have somebody please nominate a temporary president to take over for the next couple minutes.
I nominate Pat McDonald.
Oh, they didn't hear me.
Do you have a second?
I second that.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so I'm stepping down. Mr. McDonald, you can take over.
Okay. As temporary president, I would like to open the floor for nominations for board president.
I nominate Karen Harold for board president.
I will
Second that.
Second, very good, thank you. So we have a nomination of Karen Harold as board president, and it's been seconded.
I missed, who was the second?
Kim.
Mrs. Zimmerman.
Oh, okay.
Got it.
Nominations are closed. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
Those opposed should say nay. Motion carries by congratulations to Mrs. Harold. I now pass the baton back to
Thank you very much. Thank you, everyone, for your vote of confidence to continue on as the president for the coming year. Okay, we now move to the selection of the vice president. Do we have nominations for vice president? Anybody?
I nominate Cindy Sullivan.
Thank you.
Second.
Thank you. Any other nominations? If not, we'll take a voice vote then on the acceptance of Cindy Sullivan to be the vice president for the coming year. All those in favor, please say aye.
aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Okay, thank you. Congratulations, Cindy. You are vice president for the 2021 school year. Okay. Okay. I'm sorry, I got to flip pages here. All right, now we're moving on to the agenda. And Dr. Klein, there's a couple additions to the agenda. Is that correct?
Yes, I'd like to add some changes in our calendar. I would like to take the first two snow makeup days, February 15th and March 22nd. And also this year's, the December 23rd half day that we normally do like we did before the Thanksgiving break, and ask the board to approve to make those all virtual. We do no longer, this year at least, need state approval, but the board, I'd like for the board to approve those changes in the calendar. So that would be February 15th, March 22nd, and then the 23rd of December as a half a day virtual. The other two are full snow makeup days. And I want to make sure that's clear. If we have a snow day in January or in December, the first makeup day is February 15th. that would be the day we'd make it up virtually. That way our teachers, everyone can have a heads up to send the laptops home with the kids and make sure everybody has what they need.
Okay, so do you want to put that on maybe number 7? Just add that to number 7 then,
Yeah,
after the board meeting dates are selected?
Yep, that'd be fine. It would just be changes in our calendar.
Okay, all right, great. Okay, if that's all there is, do we have a motion to approve the agenda?
So moved.
Okay, Mr. McDonald, and a second?
Second it. Linda Zimmerman.
Okay, thank you, thank you. Okay, all those in favor of approving the agenda, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Okay, on to the minutes. Do we have a motion to approve the minutes from our last meeting?
Move to approve. Second.
Anybody have any changes or problems with the minutes?
Nope.
If not, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Okay, next item is the superintendent's report.
Okay, I'll give you an update. One, we're in, I believe we're in week 14, something like that today, which is exciting. We started week 14 of face-to-face instruction. We've certainly had a number of challenges here the last few weeks. We closed the middle school for about 2 weeks, and we closed the high school for about 2 weeks, and we closed Fairview Avenue a couple days early. And the state recently has come out with some different recommendations and changes. And at this point, we're adjusting what we do. And one of the things that we are going to make some changes with is that we are looking at how we define a positive case. Since the holiday has taken place, one of the things we are not counting as a positive case are those students and staff that have turned positive or have tested positive over the last few days that could not have spread it in the school. So we don't think that should be counted against the district, and I've checked that with our solicitor and he is fine with it. The state has a 14-day rolling 14-day initiative where so many cases within that 14 days, we have to close a building so many days. And with that, they have not defined what those rolling 14 days is, and we're to be hearing about that soon. So once that's defined, we'll have a better idea how to make those judgments. But what I can update with you as of right now, or at least as of, I believe Mrs. Kuzer could tell us, but as of earlier this afternoon, we had no positive students and 4 positive staff. And those 4 positive staff are from last week. And to remind you, the reason we have no positive students, there were 1 or 2 students that turned positive over the holiday, but they were not in school while they were positive, or even the 48 hours before their symptoms started that made them contagious. So without them being able to expose anyone in the buildings, we are not counting them. And again, we went over that with our solicitor, and he believes that is a fair way to determine it. So I just wanted to kind of give you a heads up. That's how we're going to be looking at it when kids are not, or staff are not able to get it in school, or that have not exposed anyone in school with it due to they were already out. Another example is the high school and middle school. The last couple of weeks, there have been a couple of middle school and high school kids get it while they were home over that time. They're not counting in our numbers because they were not in school to expose other students. So that's how we're clarifying it at this point. So, and again, that is due to the changes PDE has come out with. So, are there any questions on that? I know it's a little confusing right now, but if not, that's all I have.
Okay, thank you. Moving into the next item, which is going to be public comment. And let me explain again. We did this back in the spring when we were always virtual, and I guess people didn't remember how we do this, but if you would like to make a public comment, you simply need to write your comment down, your name and your address, and send it to Aaron Kuzer. And then when they come in, I will read at least some of them and do the best we can with that. Now, tonight, apparently everybody decided they didn't know who to write to or whatever. I get that, but I didn't get to see these, and I think we have 9, and I pretty much just got them. So I'm gonna, and it looks like they're all pretty much addressing the same thing. So I'm gonna pick and choose, like, I don't know, 4 or 5 of them. Sorry if yours does not get read, but again, my quick perusal pretty much shows that they're all addressing the same thing, and there will be a response to at least I think what a lot of these are going to say at the conclusion of my reading of the public comments. So I'll go ahead and start. The first one is from Christy Ritter, who lives at 700 Clayton Avenue. And again, this print's really small. I'll do the best I can here. Given sustained community spread of COVID-19 in Franklin County and a likely surge following the Thanksgiving holiday, it is prudent to switch to virtual instruction until January. School personnel must be shouldering undue burden due to quarantined individuals, students, and staff alike. WAMs and WASHs are coming off successful bouts of virtual learning, having made procedural improvements after last spring. We respectfully ask that you choose to focus on fewer modes of instruction and allow our students, staff, and district families to maintain or regain their health by switching to virtual instruction district-wide. Okay, the next one is from Christopher Cease, 120 Harrison Avenue. Due to the pandemic out of control in our area, all schools should be online until Monday, January 21st, 2021. This date is picked because of the incubation period of COVID-19 as it relates to Christmas, New Year's gatherings, and coincides with new semester and new options available at WASH, at least at WASH. I was quite surprised that WASH is going ahead with opening tomorrow. I welcome the 2 additional options available. However, as I read it, the student who has chosen to attend school so far, as my son has, cannot change until January 21st. As the threat is quite mobile, preemptive flexibility is paramount. I applaud the handling of the situation so far. Thank you for the time. Okay, the next one is Chris Socks, 4962 Orphanage Road. I am writing as a concerned citizen in the community. Many of my friends are either teachers who have children in the district. With the COVID-19 case numbers on the rise and seemingly only getting worse since the Thanksgiving holiday, I am baffled as to why thousands of students are returning to schools in person. This seems to be the opposite of what we as a community are trying to do, which is decrease the spread of COVID. I understand that feasible measures are being taken to keep students safe, but how feasible are they really when you have 25 to 30 students per class? 6 feet distancing doesn't seem feasible, let alone doable. These students are coming home to older parents and grandparents as well, and putting everyone in the community at risk to getting the virus. We are all in this together, but allowing in-person schooling to continue is putting the entire community at risk. Okay, let me see if I can find 1 or 2 more. That one I can't see. There's if there's any that come in on a different topic too, somehow I'll try to find time and I can read that at the second public comment that we're going to have. Let me see. Sorry. Let me look one more. Okay. And again, if there's other ones that are different, I will try to look at that. Okay, this one's a short one. Paige Benchoff, 385 Viewpoint Way, Waynesboro. Do you really think it is safe and wise to send our children back to school tomorrow? Cases of COVID-19 are skyrocketing locally. Okay, so that's pretty much the gist of the ones that I've seen of the 8 or 9 that came in. So a response to that, especially like options that your children can have with going to school that I think Mr. Cease was asking about. Dr. Sternheim, do you have a response on that?
Yes, Mrs. Harold, thank you. So I know earlier this school year, we had indicated that we were asking parents to honor the marking period. In other words, they could transition back into hybrid or into traditional during a marking period. So in the elementary level, we have trimesters, and that trimester was just, the first day of the marking period was 11/24. So we did have a number of elementary students who transitioned back to hybrid. Within the middle school and the high school, originally we were attempting to honor the marking period. However, we have made accommodations for that with the understanding that anytime throughout the entire school year, if a parent had reached out, the principals were, willing to work with families, recognizing that individuals have, maybe very personal concerns. So as of today, we have a document that was shared with all parents at WASH's with 5 different options. Mr. Taylor at the middle school will also be initiating a borough blast to families, again, outlining some options for our families, recognizing that, at this point, some individuals have some real concerns about returning. And even though it's not a end of the marking period of time, we're willing to make those accommodations, and families will just simply need to reach out to building principals. I believe the high school might have received 10 emails today. I'm not sure. I did talk to Mr. Taylor earlier today. I'm not sure what the status is at WAMS, but we are in the process of looking at those and working through those in order to honor those requests.
Okay, thank you very much. The response, I know we've heard some people that share the sentiment that they would prefer to go to all virtual, but I assure you, although there were none in public comment, at least at this point tonight, we have received many conversations and letters and emails having the opposite point of view. We are following the plan that we had agreed to. When a building has too many cases, we are shutting it down, as you've seen it happen before Thanksgiving, and we will continue to do that. This is a fluid situation. We look at it all the time, to see that we think we're doing the right thing. But I know there's going to be differences of opinion on that. I just wanted to acknowledge that.
And Mrs. Harold, can I make one
Sure.
observation? That I just want to make sure everyone understands that the governor, the Department of Health, and the Department of Education all have the authority to close any school in the state. So if our numbers are higher and we are at a terrible risk, they have the right to shut us down. And I want to make sure that's clear, that they do have that authority if they feel that it is that unsafe.
Okay, thank you very much. And again, I'll read a couple more of the public comments at the end of our meeting.
Mrs.
Okay,
Harold, Mrs. Harold, can I ask a question?
Yes, sure.
I just wanted to ask Dr. Sternerheim for a clarification, since I had received some emails regarding this topic. So I just want to clarify that any parent in the community, if their situation has changed over the Thanksgiving break or over the last couple of weeks, they have the option to call their building principal, and their child does not have to return to school tomorrow.
That is correct. I mean, we would like to be notified of that,
Right.
So, yeah, I believe Mr. Pappas has actually, like I said, shared out like 5 different options, and Mr. Taylor is in the process of sharing that. It has always been a situation where we were willing to work with families, but I recognize that in some cases, when people see that we have distinct time periods where you can transition, there might have been a mindset that wasn't even an option. But my principals have been directed since the very beginning that they need to continue to work with families. And if there's a special situation where they need to transition back into a hybrid program, we were definitely going to work with them.
So the students at the middle school and secondary, if they choose not to come back to school, they will continue to use the Schoology they've used over the past 2 weeks, not go into Apex.
That is correct. Mr. Pappas has outlined several options
Okay.
that we just actually just discussed it, I believe, on November 18th when Dr. Scott was with us. He had asked about the possibility of some people or some students just staying on the Schoology for a period of time rather than transitioning to Apex. So that is a new option.
Well, and that probably makes good sense. So then my concern has been that on the website, it clearly states that we're following marking period guidelines. And although you say parents can call, not every parent knows they can call. So can we get the website corrected then also?
Sure, I had a correction set up for after this meeting today, but I believe the information that Mr. Pappas and Mr. Taylor would be sharing out, it does a better job of clarifying, but I will make that change as well.
What about, what's the plan at elementary?
The elementary just transitioned because it was the end of the marking period.
Okay, gotcha.
So
okay.
I would hope that most families who wanted to transition, we did have 24 additional students who elected to go into hybrid on November 24th.
Okay.
So they're in trimester, so that makes a difference.
Okay. I think it's difficult for families to, you know, when family situations change so quickly with members in the household get sick. You know, I think things change so quickly that although I recognize it's a huge amount of work for administration and for everyone, I think that we have to be fluid, you know, and allow learners to do that.
Sure. And like I said, that message has been presented at least to my principals, and they have been working with families throughout this entire process. But again, I would encourage any family, if they feel that their voice is not being heard on the building level, they can definitely reach out to me and we'll take care of it.
Oh, I can't imagine their voice wouldn't be heard at the building level, Rita. I think it's just that I don't know that I don't think some parents call and ask questions if they don't know that they can do that. You know, some people are just going to take what we have on our website as what we're doing. And even though you're saying that exceptions will be made,
sure.
I'm not sure.
And originally we did not have timelines, but what we realized, it was almost too fluid. It was almost a weekly rotation, so we had to set some criteria.
Right, and I totally get that. I just think, you know, obviously I can understand it more for leaving, you know, but in terms of entering cyber, you know, I think it's just going to be more difficult to keep those guidelines if things continue to get worse. You know, and the numbers continue to get worse. So thank you. I appreciate that.
All right. Thank you.
And I want to remind the board, this is part of First Choice. We were heading this direction one way or the other. It's just the virus has helped move us much quicker to this direction than we thought, offering these different options to parents for the learning modality that they would choose for their child.
Yeah, and I do want to recognize both WASHs and WAMs for their flexibility, and like we keep using the word pivot, we have to continuously pivot throughout this entire school year to meet the needs of our learners and our families.
I have a question. How are we doing with staff, particularly teachers, to cover all the spots with so many people having to quarantine?
It is a challenge right now. We aren't, I would not say we're at a danger level, but that would be a main reason that we could end up having to close a building or the district if we don't have staff to cover. Now, right now, we only have 4 positive staff. That could be administrator, it could be whatever. It could be custodian, paraprofessional. However, the other issue that we have, those that are out for quarantine due to exposure, those numbers are much higher. But we were actually, I believe, at a higher level at one point. Ms. Kuzer, you might be able to comment on that. You look at those numbers and send them to me all the time. So, oh, maybe she didn't hear me.
Sorry, I was muted. Yeah, the numbers are much lower than they were. But they are, I mean, the exposure numbers are higher than our positives.
Okay. Dr. Klein?
Yes.
I just wonder, Well, maybe I'll mention it. I'm not sure. Reed, I think I heard you say that either Steve or Mr. Pappas or Mr. Taylor made a call to their parents, letting them know of this.
I believe Mr. Pappas shared a document, and Mr. Taylor has a borough blast that's ready to be shared.
Okay. I mean, I just wonder if, to be consistent, since not everyone watches the board meeting and isn't on Facebook and all that other stuff, maybe we should make sure elementary parents are just aware as well. Even though it was a semester break, I'm just thinking that, you know, things are changing very, very quickly. So something might have happened between November 24th and December 1st, you know, that a parent says, whoa, you know, I should have taken that option.
Well,
Sure.
I think to your point, I think it should be, we should be able to accommodate and work with parents and families of those that don't feel comfortable in the buildings right now and want to go virtual. We may have to wait till a certain time if we just can't allow them to go back and forth weekly back into the regular classroom. So they might have to stay on virtual a little longer before they come back. But
I think that's
to your
reasonable,
point,
Todd.
But to your point, I think those that choose because of their concerns, I think they should have that choice.
Dr. Klein, I totally agree. I don't agree that, like, you know, if a parent chooses today to go on cyber, they shouldn't call you next Wednesday and say, I want to go back. Like,
Right.
I think having guidelines in place, most districts that I'm aware of have a restriction that once you go a certain way, you know, you need to stay. My concern, as I expressed, was having parents have to wait to go online.
I agree. I
mean, our big hope is everyone comes back at some point and is happy to come back.
Yeah.
Sure. I just want to clarify, Mr. Taylor just shared his borough blast, so it's out.
Okay.
But we can work on notifying. I believe all the elementary principals did a borough blast on November 23rd, but again, that was last week, so that was the trimester break. But
well, I just think if the middle school and high school are doing that, sooner or later, it's going to be you know, you're going to get calls saying what's going on with, you know, you might as well just be proactive and lay it out there. Again, recognizing it's a ton of work and extra work that nobody, you know, I can't even imagine what all of you the admin are going through in yourselves, but I also want to be sensitive to those parents that really are afraid to bring their kids back or send their kids back.
Sure.
Anybody else? Okay, if not, we will move to the the business section of our meeting. Oh, no, we don't. We have board reports. I'm sorry. Okay, board reports. Do we have any?
Well, I kind of have one. It's not a really big one, though.
That's fine.
Okay, so we're going to meet the 16th of December. We have a lot to do. I'm going to stay on as policy chair, and I believe Pat is staying on, and I believe Wendy's joining. Is that right?
For a policy?
Yeah.
Yes, correct.
Okay.
Okay. Concerning the committees and who's on them, I did send that list out. And I think I didn't hear anybody say that it was wrong or, you know, so assuming I'll send the list out again to everybody tomorrow. And if anybody has any objections, let me know right away. Chairman, again, if you know who the chairman is, great. If you need to meet, you know, because of changes and pick somebody else or everybody agree again, that's fine. But by the next meeting, then we'll have those finalized.
And I think we need to have meetings set up for the rest of the year. Whoever the chairman is.
Yeah, I thought we did. Aaron, don't we have those set up for the rest of the year?
Until June we do, yes.
Yeah, okay. Yeah.
Right.
So we have those through June. Well, we do need an assistant secretary. So if anybody wants to be the assistant secretary, let me know. I'm not sure how many hours of responsibility the assistant secretary has, but if anybody wants to do that, let me know. Okay. Anything else? So that was policy. Anything else with policy there, Mrs. Sullivan? Was that pretty much it?
No. We'll have more. We'll have more in January. We'll have a lot more to talk about in January.
Okay. But for now, you're good?
For now, we're good.
Okay. Academic was canceled last week. the next meeting is January the 6th, I believe, at noon. If anybody would like to attend that. And the academic committee is staying the same. That will be Dr. Royer, Mrs. Bakewell, Mr. McDonald, and myself. Anybody else? Facilities? Budget is still a work in progress. Anything else, Mr. Wenger, you want to say about facilities?
No, nothing specific to facilities. We do have an item coming up here under new business. So we'll but nothing else for facilities, no.
Okay. Okay, anything else for the good of the order on board reports? If not, we'll move on now to business. The first item is personnel. Dr. Sterner-Hein.
Thank you, Mrs. Harold. I'd like to direct your attention to personnel items listed in your board docs. There is a listing of leave requests, followed by a second listing of resignation of support staff, appointments of support staff, appointments of extracurricular staff, appointments of substitute support staff. The recommendation is to approve as listed.
Okay. Do we have a motion to approve?
Yeah, move to approve.
Yep. Second.
Any questions?
I want to point out on the leaves, if you look at the dates, you'll see that they were all prior to the holiday, the Thanksgiving. So you'll see all those folks that have requested leave, I believe they were all November that are there.
Anything else? Any other questions? If not, all those in favor of accepting the personnel, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Okay, thank you. Next item is bus drivers.
Thank you. We have two drivers for your discussion and action. One is a district employee and one is for Heck Myers. They've met the requirements and they have the proper paperwork in, and we're asking for your approval.
Motion to approve.
Move to approve.
Second.
I'll second.
Thank you. Any questions? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed?
Aye.
Okay, grass mowing contract. Mr. Holtzman.
Sure, and I didn't know if Mr. Wingard wanted to take this one or defer it. That was.
Well, I'd be happy to jump in. We met with Mr. Coons at our last facilities meeting. From TrueCut, bids were sought for the next contract for mowing, as is proper, as is right. It was advertised, widely advertised, that we were seeking bids. Mr. Coons with the TrueCut has come back and is the lowest bid. He is our current provider. And even for this next contract, he is actually coming in a little less. So we appreciate that. And Facilities Committee recommends that we approve this contract.
Okay, questions for Mr. Wangert or Mr. Holtzman? If not, do we have a motion to approve?
So moved. Second.
Thank you. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Thank you.
Thank
Okay,
you.
next MOU for the elementary principal hybrid teacher.
I'll be glad to take that one. I want to make sure with the MOU that has been worked out between the association and the district, an agreement that it is just for this 1 year that an elementary, one of our principals would be doing the hybrid teacher. There are going to be some administrative moves, and that would include this position. So we have to go back and amend this, but I'm going to go ahead and have you approve this MOU with the amendment of the elementary principal. That person will actually be in a different building.
Okay. Do we have a motion on this? A second?
Second.
Okay, questions? Anyone? If not, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. Special needs house naming. Dr. Klein.
Okay, what we are asking, we are getting very close to opening up our special needs house that we have been working on. Thanks to Dr. Warrior, who came up with the idea over a year ago. What we'd like to do is put out to the board a name of that house, and the name that we'd like to call it would be Alma's Beneficial House. And we're hoping that the kids will say, hey, we're going to Alma's house. And that's what we're hoping through that. But we wanted to call it Alma's Beneficial House. And we are hoping the board would approve that name for that house. Dr. Warrior, anything you want to add? And I think Mrs. Sullivan may be on the online here for this part. I don't know if either one of you have anything to add about that or not.
I would just like to thank the board for their support, as well as the community members that are working very hard. I try to stop by the house occasionally to see the progress. It's amazing the work that they've completed. It's amazing the amount of work that we had to do to the house and what has been completed so far. I think it's incredible, the donations that have been given by the community. There are too many to mention, and I don't want to miss anyone. You know, countless thousands of dollars that have been donated to make the project come to fruition. I believe that you set some tentative dates for opening early in the school year. I don't recall exactly what those dates are, but I think it's great that we're going to be able to get that. It's a big positive for 2020 for the district for sure.
Yeah, and we're looking at the ribbon cutting for January 19th.
Okay, that's what I thought. But, you know, and thank you to, you know, Cherie and her staff and all of you. I know it's been a lot of extra work on all of you and Mr. Holtzman and the facilities and Don Miley and Jeff Adams to, you know, work on this. And I just want to thank everyone. It's going to be incredible.
And again, I want to make it clear, it's Alma's with the possession, the apostrophe S, Alma's Beneficial House.
If I may.
Is that a person?
Yes, it's actually named after a person.
Okay.
Now the beneficial is named after an organization. The name is after a person.
Okay.
If I may.
Sure.
Does the person it's named after have any local significance or local note? Why was that name chosen?
They were very, they were a critical part of this project being completed and happening. If it weren't for them, it just would not have happened.
Okay, thank you.
Would you agree, Dr. Royer?
Yes, that would be completely accurate. Yes, absolutely. That name needs to be on top of the sign.
Yeah.
Okay. Did we take the vote yet? I don't think we did. We had a motion. Do we have a motion?
Sure, move to approve.
Second.
Okay, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, meeting dates for the 21-22 school board, whoever that might be. Is that you again, Dr. Klein?
Actually, yeah, they're the dates that are set for the following year, for the coming school year, or actually the part of 2 school years. So, and typically they're done January to December, just as our officers are selected from January through December. So, well, actually December to December. So, anyhow, those are the dates that are in front of you, from January 12th to December 21st.
Okay. Did anybody have any issues with any of these?
And just to reiterate, typically the first meeting in the first week of December, you have to have your reorganization meeting, and it is December 7th, which is the first Tuesday. If you keep the board meetings on Tuesdays, it would be the first Tuesday of December next year.
Okay. Okay, do we have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Okay, Mrs. Bechtel seconds. Okay, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, thank you. And now for the calendar changes again, Dr. Klein, just briefly.
Okay, it's, the three changes. The first one would be December 23rd, which we typically do as a half a day with students, and that half day would be virtual. We are asking to take it from face-to-face to virtual. Then our very first snow makeup day would be February 15th, and we're asking for that to be virtual. And March 22nd, that is the second snow makeup day, and we're asking for that to be turned into virtual. So really, those 3 dates, we are asking for them to be virtual. There are 2 other snow makeup dates on the calendar. We're not going to do anything unless we have to. They're both at the very end of the year, and I'm not sure we want to do the last 2 days virtually. We're not going to get much out of them if that happens. But if we have to, we'll request it. But likely, hopefully, we won't need to do that, and they'll both be in person if we need them.
Okay, any questions or comments from any board members? If not, do we have a motion? I'm sorry, did somebody?
I assume that if we don't need those snow makeup days, we're not going to use them, correct?
Right, that's correct. Yep.
Okay.
That's wishful thinking. And I'm hoping you're right, Mrs. Zimmerman, but they're there just in case.
Very good.
Okay. If not, do we have a motion?
So moved.
Okay. Second. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Thank you. Okay, on to financial business, Mr. Holtzman.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you. For your discussion and action, we have board bills payable for the cafeteria and the general fund, as well as purchase orders. And then we also have tax assessment changes from the Franklin County Tax Appeals Board. And we have exonerations for November. That's for occupation and the old per capita taxes.
Questions from anyone on any of these? If not, do we have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Thank you. Second?
Second.
If there's no questions then, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Information, Clayton Cabinet comments.
I just want to thank the board for working with us through this year. You know, as I mentioned, I think we're in the 14th week of face-to-face school. I don't think any of us thought we'd get that far. And, you know, we're going to try to stick with our plan, but we know we have to be flexible along the way. We understand the fears and the concerns of everyone. And, you know, we know they're real, but we also know the importance of kids being in school and the concerns we have when they're not in school, and also for parents that work and, you know, really don't have another option for their kids. So we hear the concerns, and I just want to let people know they're not falling on deaf ears. But right now we feel this is what's best for kids and the community.
Okay.
This is Harold. Can I make an announcement regarding Keystones?
Absolutely.
Okay, so just want to follow up. Earlier this school year, I had essentially made an announcement that we would be conducting the 2019-20 Keystone Assessments in January. As a result of the governor signing Senate Bill 1216, the Keystone exams, the way the language reads now is that they have delayed the implementation for the Keystones for graduation requirements as a benchmark until the 2022-23 school year. It also makes clear that during the 2019-20 school year, that the requirement of Keystones have been waived for our students, assuming that they have successfully completed the locally graded based requirements in each of the content areas. It's my understanding we will be receiving a listing of students in January of 2021 from PDE that will highlight all the students that are deemed proficient on the Keystone examinations for the 2019-20 cohort. So we will not be doing the assessments in January. January would have just been a makeup. At this point, we are still scheduled to take the assessment, both the PSSA and the Keystones this spring.
Okay. Thanks for the update. That's it for Clayton. Then we go on to board comments. Oh, okay, go ahead.
Yeah, I do have one thing, Mrs. Harold. I just wanted to let the board know that I've started installing the hotspots around the community, and in the near future, we will be doing a news release, and I've been working with the newspaper to get that publicized as well. We're going to have a map on the website basically showing where those locations are. I do have 2 installed at this point, but given the current situation that I'm in, that's kind of on hold at this point. So hopefully over the Christmas break at this point, I'll be able to get them installed and everything throughout the community and so forth like that. So we're really happy about that.
Okay, thank you. Okay, if there's no other than from Clayton, any board comments?
Yeah, this is Mrs. Miles. I was contacted by a parent with high school children that are telling parents that students aren't wearing masks in the hallways between classes. You know, they're not really sure where they're gonna, where are the high school students eating lunch now when it's too cold to be outside? Just some concerns that, you know, things aren't being followed properly.
Okay. Where are they eating lunch? Are they just in the cafeteria or in their classrooms?
Yeah, we've always had room in the cafeteria. They've always had the opportunity to stay in the cafeteria. Then we have designated classrooms as well.
Okay. That answer part of your question.
I'm not hearing it anymore. I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know.
I can't hear her.
Yeah, her connection's not good.
So I heard she mentioned something regarding masks, and so I could try to follow up on that as well.
Okay. Okay, anyone else on the board?
Okay, how about the masks?
Actually, just to follow up on that, it came from a school bus driver that he was having difficulty having the students, the riders, wear masks, that he would ask them to put them back on and they would take them off again. My request is that it be followed through, that they do wear masks, and if they do not wear masks, then the parent can transport them.
They actually, the bus drivers should write that student up and turn it into the principal, just as the classroom teacher would. You know, they can give them a heads up, ask them, you know, try to be fair to that student. And if they refuse to wear it, then they should contact, you know, write it up so that principal then has that documentation and can follow through. It helps a lot when that bus driver sends in that form, so then the principal does get that information.
Would it be possible just to clarify that with our employees?
With the bus drivers?
Well, yeah, with all employees. You know, within
yeah, sure. Yep, we can do that.
I think it's time, you know, that some people have become more complacent and with the mask wearing. And I believe it's more, I mean, just as important now, if not more so, than it was at the beginning of the school year.
I would agree with you, Mrs. Zimmerman. I think, you know, it's that way in the community and in society that we've seen a lot more complacency with it, or people are kind of just worn out with it, you know, one or the other. But I think you're right. We do have to reiterate with our staff and our kids that the mask is required and it's mandatory that we have to wear it. And we've gotten that, you know, directly through the governor and also the Department of Ed.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anybody else? Okay, if not, then we'll go on to our last public comment. I don't see anything new. Again, all the letters seem to be very similar. I will read one more, which happened to be the first one that came in. This letter is from Aaron Stoops, 6016 Marsh Road, Waynesboro. And Erin is writing as a concerned mother, concerned teacher, concerned community member. Has the board considered having the secondary schools open? Is that really the safest option for our students, staff, and community? The rate of spread is skyrocketing. All nearby schools are moving away from face-to-face instruction at these levels, but we remain open as normal. Why do we feel our schools and humans are any different than the rest of the county, state, and local area? What are we waiting for, or what are we waiting for the state to step in to close us in a reactionary manner instead of being proactive? We really need to start questioning the choice decision to keep our buildings open. Please question yourself, question your decisions. Please consider the health and safety of those in our schools, students and adults. Okay, so again, if we are virtual for the next meeting, please send your comments into Mrs. Kuzer. And again, I'll read certainly anything on a different topic, but you know, several from the same topic if that's what people choose to want to comment on. Okay, so that's
Mrs. Harold, I just wanted to do a little correction there. If we are virtual, the link for the public comment is located under the board section of the website under virtual board meeting.
Okay, say that again, Nick.
It's located under the board section of the website.
Right.
And if they click on virtual board meetings, the link for public comment is right there.
Okay. Okay, thanks very much.
Yep, no problem.
Okay, with that being said then, do we have a motion? We are going to executive session, but we will not be back. So do we have a motion to adjourn?
I so move.
Thank you. Second for Mrs. Bakedall. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Thank you very much.